Critical Analysis of Mistress of Spices by Chitra Divakaruni. Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni is an eminent award-winning author and poet. Divakaruni writes and unites people, and she does this by destroying myth and stereotype. As she breaks down the barriers, she dissolves boundaries between people of different background, communities, age, and even different words. Devakarni writing often center around the lives of immigrant women. Her interest in women began after the India, at which point she come to reevaluate the treatment of women there. She writes about the abuse and courage of immigrant women. She shows the experience and struggle involved in immigrant people trying to find their own identity. Devakarni writing deal with the rootless and restless lives of Indians living abroad. Human relations and inner feeling find no place in foreign land. It is also found that Devakarni themes are unmistakably Indian and the problem are essentially Indian. Foreign rule over nearly 200 years gave rise to some distinct themes like a crisis of identity following a close association of the East and the West and the difficulties the Indian immigrant face in the country of their domicile. Devakarni's novel is also an exploration of own identity, a study of their arrival at self-awareness. It is also her daring attempt to fuse the cultural heritage of the people into the socio-political realities centered around the life. The Mistress of Spices is unique that it is writing with a blend of prose and poetry. Much of Devakarni work is partially autobiographical. She also deals with the immigrant experience, which is an immigrant's voice is rarely heard. The novel Mistress of Spices follows Tilo, a magical figure who runs a grocery store and uses spices to help the customer overcome difficulties. Tilo provides spices not only for cooking but also for homesickness and alienation that the Indian immigrants in her shop. In the process, she herself develops dilemma when she falls in love with the non-Indian. This creates great conflict as she has to choose where to serve her people or to follow the path leading to her own happiness. Tilo has to decide which part of her heritage she will keep and which part she will choose to abandon. Tilo has many disguises and names that reveal her multiple identities. Tilo was born in a village and was named Nayantara. True to her name, as she has supernatural powers, she began to foretell what would happen. In the early life of Tilo, Devakarni points the main issue in India that Indians consider girl's child as an unwanted thing. Tilo loves her family very much who doesn't love her at all. She feels frustrated in life. She wishes for the pirates. In the end, she is carried away by the pirates and with her special power, she becomes the queen of pirates and she is called Bhagyavati. For becoming Mistress of Spices, she changed her name into Tilo. She keeps changing throughout the novel, making clear how complex is the problem of identity crisis that Indians try to cope with the foreign land. Accordingly, the narrator changes her name many times. She has to change her identities many times in order to arrive at a final definition of her selfhood. The Spice Shop, where the whole Indian community coverage is like a microcosm in itself. We see many of the people who come there. Their immigrant dream lies shattered in the dust, but there are also some success stories. Lalita is another pathetic character in the novel. Lalita's stories is the same story of the woman in India. She did not to get married. she wanted in India by going to the movies and eating pani puris. At the same time, she did not want to sit in the house, it should shame her parents. It was only before 3 days to the wedding she had seen her husband. He was totally different from the photo shown to her. He came from America. She did not like him, but the wedding had been arranged and all relatives had come from different places. So she had to marry him. She did not like him, but the wedding had been arranged and all relatives had come from different places. So she had to marry him. She did not want to share anything with him on the bed, but one night, using force, he had sex with her. It was a terrible shock to her. She had to be silent with tears as she could not explain her desire to her parents. In America, too, she was watched by her husband. She wanted to kill herself. The Mistress of Spices is clogged in fantasy, and the prologue, with its strong poetic overtone, convinces us that this is a literature of fantasy. However, a strong undercurrent of realism run at the very beginning of the novel and become manifest later on. Then there is Jagjit, the shy, frightened boy transformed to Jack by the endless hostility and abuse he has to bear for his accent and turban. He hit the road with the earring, yearning for the power of the steel blade and gun. But the boy who dreamed of the grandmother, Katie, has the desire to start a new life over as he promises Tilo. Not all of the characters are underdog though. The three generations of the Banerjee family are in a war over their values, only to realize that their love and understanding for each other can overcome every barrier. In the section dealing with Raven and Tilo that knit together, the many themes they run as separate stand throughout the book. It also vivid illustrate of the complex conflict that multi-ethnic group experience in the country. Raven's mother had concealed from him his background, his ancestry that made him ashamed of her. He also underwent a crisis when he took to drink and drug, but finally, like the Raven, a counterpart of the mythical bird Shampati, the resurrected himself from the ashes of his old identity. It is at this moment that Tilo helps him and is in turn helped by him. Tilo has fallen in love with Raven and decided to leave the arthritic body of an old woman to be young with desire. She had to choose between the life of the supernatural power in immortality and the ordinary one of love and compassion or worldly and bodily pleasure. Tilo accepted her lot by choosing to stand by Raven. She was renewed Maya, meaning illusion, spell, enchantment, and so on. The story ends on a positive note, the familiar immigrant tale of dream, desire, pain, and struggle that end with hope. Divakaruni develop a little into the background if the characters so they come out as realistic and understandable. Divakaruni portrayal of Native American is rather like the way some non-South Asian authors write about the Indian woman. The minor character all Indian immigrant to the Bay Area, varying from wealthy to struggling. Divakaruni sympathize are clearly with the struggling group and their problem detailed with warmth. Quite apart from the blend of fantasy and realism, Divakaruni succeed in presenting to us a balanced picture of the world of immigrant in America. Not all of them are winner, but not all of them are lost either. Chitra Banerjee also explained that immigrant life is interesting to see how people lost touch or continue to keep in touch or continue with their own culture. Her story proves that she is one of immigrants who came to the land of opportunities under the combination of auspicious star. It spells a message of hope for many people in the future. Thank you.